Hi everybody, it's Lori at Eclectique. Tonight I want to show you how to make these cute little wine cork bunnies. They're made from wine cork, some felt, we have some ribbon, some scraps of fabric. I'm going to go over a list of what you need to make them. I have 3 sample ones here and we're going to make them together. So this is the little boy bunny, he has a bow tie, and the girls have the flowers on their heads. So what you'll need is wine corks. I've used the synthetic ones that don't have any writing on it, but I'm also going to try a natural cork one and see how the paint covers on those. You're going to need some white and gray felt. You can get these squares at the craft department at Walmart. They're very cheap, like 27 cents a piece. And you need some buttons, just these little tiny buttons that you would have on a shirt. The collar buttons, the small ones, are about 1/4 inch. Ribbon, some different colors that would match your fabric that you picked. The 1/4 inch size or the 1/8 inch, this real skinny, or the next size up. It's about this wide. So you can go with the 1/8 inch or the 1/4 inch, either one will work. And we have some small little, like the papery roses, the small ones, they're about 1/2 inch across. And we need some white paint, craft paint, gray, and just a little bit of pink for the nose. But if you don't have pink paint, you can use a pink Sharpie marker. That works too. And the Sharpie marker, this one I happen to have has 2 ends on it, but you just need a fine point. Bunny tails are made out of these little pom-poms, which you can find in the craft department. If you don't have those, you can use a cotton ball, and you tear off a piece and roll it, and it turns into a little cotton ball for the tail. You'll need your paint brushes. Just mine are pretty ugly, but doesn't matter. We're just painting the corks, the base coat and the corks. You'll probably need 2 coats of paint to make sure they cover, and water to rinse your brush. What I use for the corks to hold them so I don't get paint all over my fingers is these 2, they're 2.5 inch corsage pins. They have that little bead on the end. They work really nice. You just poke them into the cork and then you have a little stick to hold them on. And straight pins, the kind that are 1 inch long. Let's see if I can get this out without knocking them all over the floor. They have the little heads on them. They're multicolored. They come like 100 in a pack. There's a lot of those. You can find them in the sewing section, unless you have some already at home. You just need a few. Pair of sharp scissors. You'll need a glue gun and glue sticks, and some Mod Podge. Something else that you may find handy is a ruler if you want to measure the ribbon. A hair dryer to dry your paint quickly. I have a heat gun, but a hair dryer works just the same. And a palette, paint palette, put your paint in, and paper towel, clean your brush. And I think we're ready to get started. All right, let me put this aside. Okay, first, choose how many you're gonna make. I'm gonna do 3. So we'll get 3 corks. We'll try one of the natural corks to see how it covers. Put your hat pin in there. And I'm going to make 2 white ones and 1 gray bunny. So I'm gonna put a little bit of white paint in my tray. Just coat your cork evenly, top and bottom. Get all the edges. My first ones that I did 2 coats of paint. My first coat was a primer coat. Depends on how it dries. And if you want to set it down, I'm going to go ahead and dry it in between so that I can set it down. It dries really quickly. This is just Craft Smart paint. You can get at Michael's or Walmart. See, look how fast it's drying, pretty fast. Just so it's dry enough so you can set it down and go to the next one. Alright, number 2. I'll try gray on this one. Now I better do the white because I already have the white out. Okay. Coat your cork. This is my first YouTube video, by the way. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I'm just painting it. I'm like, oh, I guess I should show you on the screen, huh? And I'm in my store right now. We are permitted to be open on the wine side for takeout, or I can bring the wine to your car. If you call in the order and I get your payment over the phone, I can just bring it right out to the curb. So I've had a little bit of activity. It's been kind of slow. The store side has been shut down because we're non-essential. But I think we're all essential. But in this case, we're not. Go ahead and dry the second one. I miss seeing all you guys at our clubhouse. Feels like months instead of weeks since I've been there. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of gray paint in the tray. We're gonna leave those dry, the first ones dry, and see if they need a second coat. They probably will, because they look a little bit streaky. All right, now this next one is the natural cork. I'm gonna see how it covers. This is all new here. Oh. It's just going to have a little bit more of the porous holes in it, so it won't be as smooth as the other ones, but kind of gives it character. It looks like it's covering over the letters pretty good, so it's just a little bit harder to fill in the gaps. And if anybody ever needs wine corks, I always have a ton of them because I'm always making things with them. Plus, since we have the winery, we're always getting more corks every time we open a new bottle. So see, that one is, it's like it's harder to get it in the holes. If you kind of work it in there with your brush, it should work out okay. Yeah, it's working all right. Okay, so we'll put that one down to dry here in a second. Let's go back and look at the first ones we did and see if they need another coat. Yeah, they look a little streaky. You can see some of the lines on it. I don't think it's covered as well, so we'll put a second coat on the white ones. Rinse my brush out. I'll hold it over the tray so I don't get it all over the place. Yeah, I'm doing the top and the bottom and the edges, trying to cover it completely. can make as many of these as you want depending on what scraps you have. If you don't have scraps of fabric, you can buy these little squares. They're called fat quarters at Walmart. They're 97 cents. So it's not a big investment and not a big amount that you'd have to store. They're called fat quarters because they're a quarter of a yard of fabric, only a little bit more. Gray one, and then we'll get ready to start cutting our materials to put them together. Plus they'll sit there and dry a little bit longer while we're cutting our ribbon and our fabric and our felt. Yeah, this is a little harder to do the natural cork because of the holes, but it does work. Keep my paintbrush in the water so it doesn't dry out. Okay, I'm just going to set those aside because they will dry while we're working on our felt. Okay. So we want to start, let's make some ears. So you're going to take your square of felt. Something else you can use if you don't have felt, it's that white foam squares. Those would work too, but I use the felt for this project. All right, so what you're going to do is cut, if you want to measure, you're going to make about a 2-inch square. I'm just eyeballing it, but if you want to do your squares, that's about a 4-inch strip, and then I'm cutting it in half. So there's, I make 2 sets of ears out of this 2-inch piece, and these are going to be for the white bunnies. I think I'll make my white bunnies girls, and the gray bunny can be the boy bunny. All right, so you're going to take your square, fold it in half, and then you're going to cut the shape of an ear, which you're going to go like a half curve. You see that? Okay, I'm turning around and do the other side. Also, the bunny's ears are about the size of a cork, so if you don't have a ruler handy, you can just make them about the size of the cork. So, mine are a little bit longer, but it won't matter. Okay, so you got 2 ears for your first bunny. So while I have this out, I'm going to go ahead and cut my second set of ears out. So I'm going to fold my square in half, and cut a curve to a point. So there's your 1/2. Flip it around, and then cut the other side. Yeah, it helps if you have sharp scissors. These aren't that great, but they'll work. Okay, so we got 2 more white ears. Oops, didn't cut it the whole way. Those things will happen. Okay, so we got a second set. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the gray ones too, so I'll just have 3 sets of ears sitting here. Okay, I'm gonna put this off to the side since we don't need this one anymore. So we got gray. There we go. And this one I already cut some out of, so I'm just going to go ahead and use from this piece. So if you want to make a 2-inch, it's about 2 inches. And if you make a mistake, you're not wasting a whole lot. If you have to cut another set, it's not that big of a deal. So, or if you didn't like how the turned out or your edges aren't smooth. Okay, so we're cutting the curve. One curve, flip it, and then cut the other side. We got 2 ears. Okay, so we got gray ones and our white ones. And done with the felt. I'll set that off to the side too. All right, now we want to do the inside of the ears, as you can see on this little guy. The fabric piece, and then this one is the boy, so he has a bow tie. So we're going to cut the inside of the ears and the bow tie for the boy. So whatever color you want to use, I'm going to use this yellow again for him. Okay. And you only need a little scrap again. So now this one, these are not quite 2 inches because they have to fit inside the ear and be a little bit smaller. So maybe about 1.5 inches. Maybe about 1.5 inches or so for your square. So when you fold it, it probably doesn't matter which side is inside or out. Just go ahead and fold it, and then you're going to cut same curve. And it's just going to be a little bit shorter for the inside. The other side. Okay. Now let's check if it's too long, you can trim it. Okay, so here's the bunny. He's going to be the gray bunny. And see how it lines up? It's a little smaller and it goes on the inside. You can see that. Try to hold it, get my fingernails out of the way, see? This fits inside. Okay, so I'm going to set those. Where'd the other ear go? Oh, here it is. Fell in the fabric and it looks exactly the same. So we'll put the ears over there. Now, he's gonna have a bow tie. So to do the bow tie, you're gonna cut a small snip, maybe about, let me measure it for you now. It's about 1 inch wide and maybe a little bit longer. Maybe 1 inch by 2 inches so that you have a base, and then we're gonna fold it in half. And then we're going to make a triangle so that the bow looks like 2 triangles together. It's all one piece of fabric. So you're just going to straight across for the end. And then from the middle, just make a V. And then turn it. And cut the other one almost to the middle. And then you have it one piece, and then when you unfold it, it's a bow tie. See, there's his bow tie. Now, since it's fabric, it's a little floppy, so that's when we're going to use the Mod Podge. And if it's too big of a bow tie, if you want to trim it down, you can make it smaller. I'm going to make mine just a smidge smaller so it's not too wide sticking out. Okay, so what you'll do is you'll take your piece of fabric and set it down on your paint palette. Set it down on your paint palette. Then get your Mod Podge. I always say Mod Podge, which isn't right. Mod Podge. And it is actually like a glue with a little bit of water in it, like an Elmer's glue, basically. Okay. I think that brush already had some Mod Podge in it. It's pretty stiff. All right. So you're just going to take, just dip your brush in there, Mod Podge, and then brush over top of your piece of fabric. So I'm just brushing it. Now it's kind of stuck on there, so we want to peel that up and then just set it off so that it's not totally going to be stuck to your plate, but it'll lay flat. So can you see that? I don't know, the light might not be that great. It's just a piece of fabric. We'll just leave it sit there and dry while we do the rest of it. And put your brush in the water so it doesn't get hardened. Okay, so we're done with this piece of fabric. Set it off to the side. All right, so we have our bunny ears for the gray one, and we got his bow tie drying. Okay, so the second one, the little girl bunny, I'm gonna make hers inside's green. The inside of her ears are gonna be green. This it's a green, like plaid check looking color. It's my new favorite color for the spring, is a springy green. So we're cutting the half, flipping it over, and doing the other side. And you have two insides, two pieces. So let's check to see if it fits inside there. If not, we can trim it. It fits. Two of those. Set those aside. Then the last color is this is a flannel. Cotton, the cotton fabric works the best. It's a little bit stiffer. The knits don't work very well at all, but cotton works well, or this little bit of flannel I have. I don't need the whole piece. Okay, so then we're gonna fold it in half, just like we did the white part, and then we do our curve to a point. Oh my gosh, scissors are awful. Okay. Snip. Fabric scissors would work well, but I can't be trusted with fabric scissors. I end up using them on other stuff since they're laying there. We got our other little girl's ears. Let's see if it fits inside the white. Look at that. Look at the edge of that. That's horrible. It needs smoothed out. Looks like somebody chewed it instead of cut it. Okay. Alright, so that fits in there, but there's not a lot of white showing. I might trim this inside part a little bit more so there's more of the ear part. That's better. Okay, see, now you can see a little bit more of the white. Okay. And yeah, look at that, look at that. It's awful. We'll smooth that out. Poor little bunny's ears all wavy davy. And once again, this one I think needs trimmed a little wee bit. Yeah, it's not that bad though, the inside, but I'll just trim it to make it more even there. You really can't mess these up, they're just cute. All right, so we got, there's her ear. All right. So we did our ears, then ready to start gluing. Yeah. Oh, put the lid back on the Mod Podge. Forgot. Okay. Now, you know glue guns are very hot, so be careful. So let's take our first set of ears, and we're just going to put one stripe of hot glue down the center. And then put your inside of your bunny ear right on top, lining it up with the bottom. So that one's glued. And just go ahead and do that for all of them. One little stripe. It doesn't take a lot of glue. It holds. Press down lightly. Okay, get this green one going here. Little stripe. Little inside. Press. So like that. Stripe glue. The middle one. Whoa. Alright, one more set to go, the gray ones. Okay, a little stripe of glue right down the middle. Color on the inside. Alright, so the glue is done on the ears. Check the Mod Podge little bow tie. It's not quite dry yet, so we're gonna leave that sit there for while we work on a couple other things. Keep that sitting there drying. And set the glue gun back off to the side. We're gonna cut some ribbon. So we wanna pick the colors that you like to match. Like with the green check, I'm gonna use the green ribbon. And you're gonna use this for her bow and her hanging loop. Okay, so we're going to cut 2 pieces of ribbon from the green, and it's about 8 inches long is what I figured. Let me take a look, I'll check for you. Yeah, about an 8-inch piece of ribbon will be good for the hanger. And cut the same amount for the bow, and then you can trim it to the size we need when you're done. So we'll go 8. If you go a little more, it's fine because you can always trim. But if you cut it too short, that doesn't work. Okay, so to make the hangers, you take your piece of ribbon and untangle it so there's not twisted, and match both ends together. And then you're just going to tie them together in a knot at the end. Just make the knot. And pull it through. So then you have a little loop that looks like that. Okay. We're going to do that with each one of the colored ribbon. Now the next piece of ribbon, we're still on our green. We have to make a little bow tie for her. And about 8 inches of ribbon will work. And then if you haven't made a bow on a piece of ribbon, plain straight piece, you just make a loop and then wrap it around, just like you were learning to tie your shoe for the first time. Pull it through. Now it looks all wonky because it's all crooked, but guess what? You can straighten that out. So you're going to pull the end, pull the other end, and pull it tight. Now I don't like that, see that's crooked to me, so we're going to straighten it out. You're going to even up the loops, and once you have it the size that you want it, you're going to snip off the end. Make the tail short, and you got her bow. Okay, so you got your green loop and your bow for bunny number 1. Okay. So we'll put her stuff aside. Then I'll put that green away because we're done with that one. Oh, I think I picked this color. It's kind of like a teal to go with the little boy. The yellow print had some blue in it and teal. So he is getting, he just needs, his bow is going to go up by his ears because he's got the bow tie and the loop to hang it with. So we're going to get our 2 8-inch pieces. So there's one for the bow tie, or one for the bow on his head, and one for the loop to hang it with. So we got 2 of those. Okay, so we'll just make our hanger first, take the 2 ends together, and then tie a knot in the end. Please stand by while I fix this. There we go. So we have 1 loop for the boy bunny. And then we'll make a bow for his, by his ears. So you'll make the loop it around. Okay, that's what it looks. It looks bad. Okay, so then that's when you straighten out the ends. So you get it the size you need, and then pull it tight, and then trim off the excess. Trim. Okay. So the boy bunny has his bow for his ears and his hanging cord. Put those down. And last we have, I have this pastel one. What did I pick? Oh, there's a little bit of yellow in there, so I had some yellow ribbon. I'll use with that. So get your 8-inch piece for the hanger. 8 inches. And this is a girl, so her bow is going down under her chin. Do bunnies have chins? I guess they do. So we got that. So let's do our hanging loop. Get your 2 ends together. And then make a knot at the end. As far as you can get it towards the end, so you have enough of a loop that you can hang. Okay. There's hers, and then we'll make her little bow for under her chin. Okay, so loop. Maybe start closer to the end. Loop, loop, tuck. Yeah, my nail tech, I'm not getting my nails done, and they're getting a little long. I'm gonna have to trim them down. So they get in the way a little bit. Okay, so there's our yellow bow. And we'll trim off those excess ends. Too long. Okay, so you got those 3 sets all ready to go. And let's check to see if they're dry. Yeah, they're pretty dry. So then you can remove your pin, and we're going to start to assemble. So let's start with the ears first. So let's just do her. Now we're going to put a little bit of hot glue on the bottom of the ear, and in the center of your cork, you're going to push down and attach it. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just a little dot, a little dot of glue in the center. Kind of off to the center, I guess. So the center off to the one side, because the ears, both ears up there. So when you put the ear on there, you want to kind of tuck the end of the felt towards the back and kind of press down. So it's kind of like an L. Yeah, same as stands up. And you can push it down on the back side. You can see that. And we'll get the other ear on. Another dot of glue. Why am I doing that? Remove that. Poor glue stick. Ooh, it's a mess. ear. Kind of bend it a little bit on the bottom. And press down. Make sure it's dry. Yeah. Okay, so there you got your ears on there. And we're going to put her flower right here in the center. She's getting a yellow flower. Since her ribbon's yellow. And these flowers are kind of papery and they come with these little wires on them. I'm just snipping off close to where the wire hooks onto the flower. I'm going to just snip that off, cut one off of there because you don't need the wire part. If your scissors are tough enough to cut the wire, otherwise use little wire cutters, which I don't have them here. I'm just using these scissors. That's probably why they're not so sharp. Okay, so we're gonna glue on her flower. I need a little bit of hot glue on the back. And then right between her ears, she gets her flower right in the middle. Cute. All right. Then while we're here, let's glue on the loop. Now it goes on the back side behind her ears on the top. So right here in the middle on the back, this just attaches there with some glue. Now, what I ended up doing with the first ones, the glue wasn't holding that well, so I used one of those straight pins with the little bead on the top to help anchor it, and it slides down into the cork real easy. So we will put her loop on put that little bit of glue there, and then I used the pin and I drove it down in through the knot and in through the cork to hold it, so then it won't come out. So just push it down in there. Then you know it's not going to pull out. And see, I got that little extra tab of ribbon. I'm going to snip that off because I don't want that hanging out there. I don't like that. So we're going to snip that off, trim it off. There. Okay, so there you go. So you've got your hanger on there. You got her flower, her ears. So next, her bow tie. So kind of keep it lined up from the center. Go the whole way down to the bottom, and then you're going to put a dot of hot glue there. Dot of hot glue, and the yellow ribbon that you tied earlier. And then just sit it down in there. Tap it gently. Now, this was another thing with this one. So I ended up using these pins because it helped anchor it. I'm not sure, the hot glue always isn't that reliable. So I'm just going to go ahead and push that pin in there. I'm going to set it down on the table so I can push harder, so I can get it in there. There we go. So, and I picked the color that matched the bow, so it's a little yellow pin and the ribbon. Okay, so now she's ready for her face. So you're going to use your Sharpie, and I'm going to come a little bit closer to the camera, and I'm going to try to do it this way. Oh my gosh, this is going to be fun. Okay, so you're going to do 2 dots for the eyes. Okay, good, upside down. All right, now for the nose, it's going to be an upside down triangle. So you're going to go a straight line across, and then down to make a triangle. And then for the mouth, it's the letter U. So from where the point is on the nose, you're going to go down and make a U. See that? And then on the other side, you're going to go down and make a U. Okay, so she got 2 U's. Then a couple of whiskers. Actually, let's do 3. 1, 2, 3 whiskers. This way so you can see it. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. Now she needs a little bit of pink on her nose. So we're gonna just take the end of our paintbrush. A skinny paintbrush. Where is it? Oh, it's in the water. Okay. The end of the paintbrush that's small. See, it's a thinner one. And then you're just gonna take your pink paint. Now, if you have a pink Sharpie, this is way easier if you already have a Sharpie, but I don't have a pink Sharpie. So we're just going to unscrew the top of your paint. Just out of the lid, you're just gonna dip your paintbrush in there just to get a dot of paint. That's all it needs is a dot. Then you're gonna come over to her nose, and I'm gonna try to do this so you can see. So we'll just put a dot of pink right in there. So she's got a dot of pink. All right. Going back to that corsage pin, what we're going to do is a little highlight in the center of her eye. Well, center, it's kind of towards the top. Let me show you one where it is one. Okay. I'm going to zoom in. Okay, on her eyes, you can see the black, and then there's 2 little white dots. Those are the highlights. So we're going to put the highlights in with the pin because it's really tiny dots. So we're going to go back to your white paint. Oh, I already got. If you have white paint still in the tray, it's probably still okay. So you're just going to take the point, dip it in the white, and then dot, just like a tiny dot, right? Dot, dot. 2 little dots. Okay. All right. So last, they get the tail. So if you have the little pom-poms, you're just going to put a little dot of glue and stick it on there. If you don't, we'll make one out of a piece of a cotton ball. So this is just a 1 whole cotton ball, and I just tear off a piece, and then just roll it in your hand till it makes a ball. Oops, dropped it. Okay, so then there's your little tail. And you're just going to glue it on. So let's go ahead and squeeze. And since I have the pom-poms, I'm going to use them. But if you don't, see, right on the back. Okay, she's done. Set her off to the side. So then we're going to do, let's do the little boy. Let's do the boy next. He's gray. I'm going to sit back down. Gray cork, gray ears. So we're going to go ahead and glue the ears on, just like we did the other one. So we bent it back a little bit on the bottom and then push down. Let the glue dry. Try not to burn yourself. Another dot for the other ear. Got some big ears. No 2 are going to look exactly the same, by the way. All right, now he has a bow in the center of the 2 ears instead of a flower, so I'm going to put a little dot of glue there and then set the ribbon down in. And if you have that pin, it might be easier just to kind of push it into place with the pin so you don't burn yourself. So there's his bow there. Then he has the bow tie that was drying with the Mod Podge. So here's his bow tie. It's pretty dry. It's dry enough that we can use it. So we're going to take the button. You had, if you have the buttons that have the 2 holes in the center, we are going to use 2 pins. I'm using the ones with the white head since the button's white, but you could use yellow or whatever color. You can make it, colorful if you want. I'm going to pick out 2 pins out of here. And then what you're going to do is put your pin through the button hole, one of the button holes. So then it'll look like that, okay? Then you're going to take your bow tie and line it up towards the bottom of the cork. Here, I'll hold it this way maybe. Hard to maneuver. Okay. So at the bottom of the cork, the bow tie will go. Then you're going to take your pin and button and push it into the cork, right in the center. Okay. And I'm going to push it in the whole way. Then we'll put the second pin in. I'm going to set it down on the table so you have more leverage. So line it up. Push your pin down in the whole way. And then it will look like that. So then you don't have to glue it, you just have the pin in there and it holds his bow tie on very nicely. Okay, so he's ready for his face. Sharpie. Let's see if I can do this again. Okay, so 2 dots, kind of right. 2 dots. Okay, upside down triangle. I'm gonna try to do it this way. Okay. Oh, he's crooked. Look, his eyes are over here and his pins are here. I'm gonna move him over though. I'll move it over. You guys don't have to watch me do that, but I'll move it. Triangle. Triangle nose. And then the U for the mouth. Whiskers. 3 whiskers. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3 whiskers. Okay. Little pink dot in the middle. Let me get that next. Oops. Now we just use the end of the paintbrush. In the cap of the paint, old dot of paint. Old dot of paint. Then he needs dots for in his eyes. And your pin. And just a tiny dot of white that you had in your tray from earlier when you were painting. And then you just put tiny little highlight in the top. And there he is, he's highlighted. Okay, he needs a tail, and then he'll be done. A little dot of blue on the back. Oh, we forgot his loop. Duh, here it is. All right, so loop to hang him. Put your glue and set it down in there. And like I said, it worked so much better whenever I just anchored it with a straight pin. So I'm going to do that again with this one, then we know it's secure. And just make sure it goes down through the ribbon and into the cork. There you go. Okay, Mr. Bunny number 2. All right, one more to go and you guys will be finished. But you can make as many of these as you want. They were kind of fun. I thought they would look cute on an Easter egg tree that has the eggs, and you could add these in between. Those would be cute if you have grandkids or if you have anybody. I mean, they're not too hard. The hardest part is the hot glue. You know, that's the only thing that's a little bit dangerous. Okay, so, but okay, we do the ears. On there, so yeah, so just bend it back and press it down in the hot glue spot. And the same thing with the number 2. Bend it back and press it down so it's kind of like an L. Now I got them all crossed over, which isn't good, so we're going to fix that. There. So now, just spread them apart a little bit. Now this one gets a flower. She's getting a white one. Snip off the flower. Right in the center gets the flower. And she has a green bow. Put that, just line that up right down at the bottom. Okay, and her hanger right behind the ears, dotted glue. The knot side goes down. There's glue. Anchor it with a pin. Get one out of here. There we go, green one. So down through the ribbon. There we go. Trim off the excess. I don't like that end. And she needs a tail and a face. So let's put her tail on there. Bunny tail and face. All right. Now this one, I'm going to try to do it at this angle instead of how I did before because it was really hard to do it that way. So if you can see, dot. Actually, it would be a little bit bigger. There we go. Really messy. Good, better. Okay. Nose, triangle, upside down. Letter U, letter U, whiskers. Whiskers. Okay, she needs pink in the center of her nose and she needs her highlights in her eyes. So, highlight. I have a pin right here, got some white paint, dot, dot, she's got her dots, and her pink. It's right in the center, dot of pink. All right, so here are your finished little bunny family. We got the dad, we got the girls, dad. Got him with his bow tie, and we have her with her little yellow trim. All right, everybody, that's it for this video. We got it done in less than an hour, so have a great night. And happy crafting. Bye, everybody.